Hi everybody! In this video, I'm going to introduce you to your first project, Designing Multiples. This project investigates function and design. You will be asked to create a set of 5 objects with a specific function in mind. At the completion of this project, you will be able to apply basic 3D design principles and vocabulary, design a set of functional objects using basic guidelines for good function, demonstrate proficiency of hard and soft slab construction, and demonstrate proper surface decoration techniques. The requirements are as follows. All objects must be slab built, hard and/or soft. You must create a minimum of 5 objects that will either stack, nestle, or interlock, and you will use 3 of the 6 surface decoration techniques learned in class. Before you start designing your objects, we need to answer the question, what is good design? We are going to take a look at a few 3D design principles and elements. You can find more detailed information about them on Canvas. The elements of 3D design are space, line, plane, volume, mass, value, and texture. For this project, you will focus on space. Space is the area within or around an object. Space is divided into 2 types, positive and negative. Positive space is the totality of the mass lying between its contours, and negative space is the empty space defined by the positive shape. So if you have an object, the object is the positive space, and all the area around the object is the negative space. Here you see ceramic objects made by the famous designer Eva Zazel. In this image, you can clearly see the positive versus negative space. When designing your own objects, I want you to consider this and think about the shapes that you are creating. The 3D design principles are harmony, contrast, repetition, rhythm, emphasis, continuity, balance, symmetry, asymmetry, and proportion. While all these principles are important to consider when designing your set, you are going to focus on creating rhythm. Rhythm is a result of repetition. 3 rhythmic devices include the duplication of the same form, 2 forms used alternately, and the sequential change of form. Now we are going to look at what makes an object function well as outlined in 10 questions to ask when designing functional pottery. Number 1. Are the top rims and the edges of the handles sharp to the touch for either lips or fingers? Any part of the pot that comes into contact with parts of the body should be smooth. Here you see 2 examples of how to treat the lip of a mug. The one on the left is thicker and rounded, while the one on the right is thinner and sharper, but not so sharp that you're going to cut yourself on it when you drink from it. Number 2, is the curvature at the top of a drinking vessel suitable for drinking from? Does it curve in or out, or is it straight up? For optimum function, there should be a slight curve outward so that the liquid flows easily from the vessel into the mouth and does not dribble. Number 3, is the width of the mouth of the drinking vessel too large or too small? Here you see that the mug on the left might be difficult to drink from because of the scalloped edge. When drinking, the liquid might drip out awkwardly. On the right, you see an example of a lip that has a slight curvature outward for optimum function. Number 4, is the shape of the object suitable to be held or drunk from? Number 5, does the shape of the pot need handles to fulfill its intended use? Number 6, does the handle have sufficient room for fingers? Handles should have room for average size fingers. Granted, hands come in all shapes and sizes, but the thickest of the thickest part of the average forefinger is about 1 inch. If handles are too big, it will likely feel awkward and look awkward. Number 7, does the handle fit the hand, or do the fingers have to conform to the handle? The mug on the left is an example of a handle that is too small for practical use, while the mug on the right is perfect for getting a good grip. Number 8, does the sound or texture of the surface aggravate the user? Number 9, does the object as designed get too hot to hold? Number 10, could it work better and be more comfortable? In this image, you can see that some of these cups have a rough texture, which might be aggravating to use. These cups would be best for decorative objects. So, Remember earlier I said that your 5 objects are going to interact in one of 3 ways? They are going to stack, nestle, or interlock. Here you see an example of stacking. These are 4 stacking bowls by ceramicist Sean Spangler. And here you see another example of stacking by Martha Grover. This is an example of nesting by Dan Schmidt. In this example by Courtney Murphy, you see that nesting is the perfect example of sequential change from large to small. And one example of nesting by Nicholas Bivens. The last option is interlocking. Here you see Sarah House's fractal serving dish. All of the forms fit together nicely to create one set. In these next 2 examples by Heather May Erickson, you see that interlocking can be accomplished with forms that are similar in shape and with forms that are completely different. So that's the end of this presentation.